Hello and happy 8th day of Vlogmas. My name is Megan and I am the yarn dyer behind Megs & Co. Yarn. It is bright and early Saturday morning. I'm in my kitchen. I just made myself a cup of coffee. Oh, I love my Saturday mornings. Lazy. Get to enjoy my cup of coffee nice and slow and relaxed, and it's nice. So I am here because I wanted to assess some swatches that I made last night because I need to make some decisions in order to figure out what it is I am going to be knitting today. So I am doing a test knit for a cardigan. It's supposed to be a worsted weight cardigan, and I had explained in the previous video that I was just having some issues getting gauge. So normally I'm a very tight knitter, so I had automatically gone up a needle size and my gauge was incredibly off. I was off by 4 stitches. I am using a DK weight yarn instead of a worsted weight yarn. However, my DK weight yarn should still be kind of proportionate to the worsted weight yarn that I thought was called for in the pattern, but if that makes sense at all. So this is my original swatch. So this is 16 stitches per 4 inches. I do very much like the fabric that it created because it's, you can see through it just a teeny tiny bit, but for the most part it's still pretty dense. But what's nice about it is that it's not so dense that it doesn't, like, you know, have like, it's gonna move with your body. I don't want it to get down to a needle size where, yeah, I've made gauge, but then the fabric is just so dense and thick that, you know, you have this thing that's like wearing something made out of, you know, like cardboard. Like, it's just not going to move with your body. So last night I opted to go down 2 needle sizes. So this was knit on a size US 8 needle. So I knit swatch. This is the same yarn, it's just a different color because I just wanted to preserve the color. So this is the color that I do plan to knit the cardigan in. If this swatch is at gauge, we'll see. I have not measured it yet. So this is a brand new color that came out this fall. It's called Midnight Fig. But yeah, so this is called Red Haven, this colorway, but I just had some leftovers. So just used it so that I wasn't using up my main color. So yeah, so this swatch, it's definitely much denser. I have not measured it yet, so I have no idea where we're at. So last night I was nervous that it was just going to be like too dense, too much structure, like it was like basically like standing up in my hand. But after giving it a good block, it really did, you know, soften up and bloom quite a bit. This yarn is nice in that the more that you work with it, the more that you've blocked it and whatnot, it does soften up a lot. And it's something that even I'm getting used to. It's, you know, this is, it's my custom blend yarn, but it's still fairly new to me. You know, I've made 3 projects with it now, so even I'm still kind of learning, you know, the characteristics of my own yarn. And so I made, my biggest project that I've made with this yarn was the Maxine sweater by Laura Penrose. And that was something I really noticed, that just the more I worked with it, it starts off as a pretty rustic farm yarn, and just the more you're working with it and knitting with it and manipulating the stitches, it really transforms into a beautiful fabric that becomes quite pleasant and soft. And then especially after blocking it, and giving it a wear, it's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. So I think it's neat how it really does that. So I've blocked it, but I've not measured it, so I have no idea where I am in terms of gauge. But yeah, it's definitely dense. but I've got lots, you know, it's wiggling around, you know, it's going to conform to my body kind of a thing. So I'm not worried about it being too dense. So that is good. I'm happy in that regard. I feel like I had a thought about it. Oh yeah, I was going to say, so like one of the things that I absolutely love about this yarn is just how much memory it has. So I think that's also what attributes to it being such a dense yarn sometimes. Like when you start going down in gauge, it can just get so dense. It has so much memory. So this is a Rambouillet yarn. And Rambouillet just refers to the breed of sheep that, that the wool was sheared from. And it just has so much memory. So I mean, you yank, you pull on this, and it's gonna just bounce right back. So it has a lot of elasticity, a lot of memory, and the opposite of that is drape. So things that are silky, you know, you pull on them and they're gonna stay that way. You know, you hear about fabrics that the more you wear them, the more they grow. Those are things that are drapey, and that's not a bad thing, but you just have to be aware of that when you're choosing those types of yarns and fibers in relation to the type of garment you're going to make. Because if you're wearing more of like a, you know, a loose fitting t-shirt or something that's got lots of silk in it is going to be beautiful because it's going to, you know, be loose and flowy and drapey on your body. But for me, a cardigan, I want something that's going to have nice structure, you know, kind of like my hoodies, you know, I want to be snugged in here. So as a backup plan, knowing that this has so much memory, that I was just nervous about this fabric being too dense, as a backup plan, I swatched up, this is true worsted weight, so it's a little bit denser than my Empire State. But it is a true worsted weight, which is technically what the pattern calls for. But it is it's a Merino Rambouillet blend. So, and these are all non-superwash yarns. But this one has just a little bit more drape. It definitely has great memory, but you can see it just has just that little bit less elasticity. So like as I'm pulling, you can see that pull mark where I pulled, and like it'll go back, but I kind of have to like tell it to go back. Like otherwise you see that pull mark there, and like whereas this, that does not do that. Like, so that's that difference between, you know, how you can measure elasticity and memory. So the reason I thought that this might be more appropriate is that even though it's relatively the same thickness, if it had more drape to it, I figured it wouldn't make such a dense fabric that I was hoping that I could still make gauge, but the fabric wouldn't, you know, fabric would not be so dense, you know, it would be nice, you know, like you'd want a cardigan to be. And as an ultimate backup, I still had a little bit of time. This one's still a little wet actually, which is kind of funny that the thicker ones feel completely dry. So as an ultimate backup plan, I also swatched up some thinner yarn, because normally the idea is that if your thicker yarn isn't working, then you have to go to a thinner yarn. So I did swatch up some Sport. So this is also a non-superwash. This is my organic merino sport weight. So I just stuck with my size 6 US 6 needle and just swatched up some of the Sport. So this is 100% merino wool, so it has a very similar kind of drape and elasticity as this swatch, but you can see the fabric is definitely just much thinner. So I'm really hoping that one of these needs gauge, because I just wanted something that was going to be thicker, warmer for winter. This is very nice. It's a wonderful fabric, but to me this is more of a spring summer cardigan, which would be lovely were it not December. Okay, so now I have to measure these guys, and I have I brought two different gauge things. So I feel like measuring garter is always just tricky. I don't know why counting these little bumps is just a little bit trickier. So I have, there's no like label on this, so I forget what it's called. I think it's Easy Cat, but I like that it's like kind of a magnifying glass. So usually I love this, but I found it actually kind of distorts the garter bumps. But usually this is my go-to for measuring like stockinette gauge swatches, because it just magnifies the stitches and you can see them so well. But I was having trouble with it on the last time, and I'm almost wondering if it's because this yarn was also so dark that it was just hard to count the stitches, because I can see these guys pretty good. But otherwise I have like the classic square. Okay, I always feel like I need something pointy. Here we go, moment of truth. 1, 2, 3. I have exactly 20. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna count again. And I'm gonna count a different row. So I need to get 20. Where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 20. Oh my gosh. The gauge gods are with us today. So I'm curious about this one. So yeah, I'm definitely, I'm gonna go with my original plan of my Empire State, because I'm very happy with the fabric. It's not too dense. I want to count this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. So it's like 19 and a half. So this one's pretty close too. So that's good to know, that potentially for a future option that I could definitely use this yarn as well. So 19 and a half. So I always find that, so I don't know like how much my gauge changes with garter. I haven't, it's actually my first time doing a gauge swatch in garter. I've always just done stockinette, and usually like 1 full stitch is 1 needle size. So I don't know how much, okay, if I was at 16 stitches on an 8 and I went down, so I guess I moved two stitches per needle in garter. So if this is off by half a stitch, I would stay on the needle that I'm on, because I think if I went up a needle size, I think it would throw it off too much. I'd rather be within 0.5 than potentially at, because that could potentially bring me, so if I went down another needle size, that could potentially bring me to like 21 or 22 stitches per inch. So yeah, so I would rather be at like 19.5. To me that rounds. And I'm probably, any designer who's watching this is like, no! If you're really, really particular about making sure that you meet gauge, another option is to change the material of your needle. So changing from like metal to wood sometimes can be a way to like micro tune your tension to get those like 0.5 adjustments, but to me that gets to be a little too particular, especially when most of these patterns call for you know, they call for a certain amount of ease. So, you know, I can't remember how much positive ease that this pattern has, but when a pattern has 4 to 10 inches of positive ease built into there, to me that's, you know, it's gonna fit when I'm off half an inch, oh my gosh, half a stitch. But my Empire State is perfectly on gauge, and I'm so excited about that. So I'm gonna go pull out my yarn, And I think it's time that I finally cast on this project because, like I said in yesterday's video, if you watched it, I am way behind on this test knit. I had signed up for it before Vlogmas season, Advent season, so I hadn't started any of my Advent projects, so I wasn't really working on anything, and I was like, yeah, I've got tons of time, and I wasn't really thinking about all of these projects that I had planned to be doing in December. So I had signed up for it, but then I had swatched, and my swatch was just so off that, that I just needed to kind of take some time to think about it and come up with what was I going to do? And then I got distracted, as you do, which is totally fine. But yeah, and these projects are always just a little bit different for me. When I sign up for these test knits, I sign up with the intention of doing them in my yarn. So this isn't so much a pleasure project. I mean, it is. It's not me knitting. To me, this is work knitting, because this is going to be a sample that's going to be in my shop. It's going to be in my booth. So, so it's a little bit different knitting. It's knitting for my business versus, my Advent knitting, which is, I hate calling it selfish knitting. It's just me time knitting. So anyway, enough about all of that. So yeah, so now I have to find where I've put this. I put this in a bag somewhere, and I was actually looking for it last night because, so the funny story is I was going to just keep swatching in the purple. I couldn't find the skein, so I stuffed it in a bag somewhere, and now I have to go find it. But I'm going to go cast that on because I want to get that started. I successfully started my cardigan test knit. So this is the color that I'm going to be using. This is Midnight Fig. It's a really nice, deep purple color that's almost a little brown, but not quite. So I like it. It's a little dark, so it's a little tricky on the eyes, but I think it's going to be really pretty, and then really wearable is kind of most important of all. So it's a cardigan that's worked flat, so and it's bottom up, so I got all my stitches casted on, I got the right number of stitches, and then I always feel like that first row of ribbing is always, like without fail, it's like I'll always, this one is just a 1x1, and it's like I'll always end up doing like a 2x2 in there at some point, but I got it, everything is looking good, and then I was able to use some of the items that have been in my Twice Sheer Cheap Advent. So this was the bobbin that was a couple days ago, so I put my yarn tail on that, and then I have my row counter on here to count my ribbing rows, because I have to do so many repeats before I have to start putting my buttonholes on. So I thought this was a great way for me to keep track of how many rows I need to do for my buttonholes, so that I can ensure that all of my buttonholes for my cardigan are exactly spaced out. So this is going to come in super handy for that. Yeah, so I had casted this on, I started it, and then I was gonna go downstairs to start my work day. I went in my bedroom to change, and I literally just sat down on my bed, and I don't know, like 2 hours later, I woke up from a nap that I did not mean to take. And I am not a nap person, so I just really feel like that was my body telling me to just lay low today. So I'm going to continue to listen to that and just make today a sit and chill and knit day, which is fine because I'm in a good spot work-wise, so it's okay. Just double up next weekend is all. But yeah, I don't know. I feel kind of bad. I had I did not intend for, the first week of Vlogmas to be me stuck in my house for a week, but here we are. So I thought it was a good time, a good break, that I would open my Advents. So this is day 7 from Buku Yarns. So today is a yarn day. This one is 12 50-gram skeins, so every other day is yarn, and then the opposite days are little extra goodies. So it looks like today's color is Blue Star Fern. Really pretty green with probably some aqua speckles in there. Yeah, it definitely say they're aqua. So this was the previous day's color. Those definitely are really pretty. And then I did start, here's the shawl. I have not worked on the shawl, I think since the last time I showed it. So yeah, I haven't caked up this. So this, I was kind of making this my lunch break project, but then I've been home sick, so haven't really had much cafeteria knitting. But when I return to the office, this will be coming with me, so hopefully I'll be making some. My husband is dancing in the background. So hopefully I'll be making some good progress on this once again, but I think that those colors are gonna all go together really beautifully. I'm making a mess down here. Oh, the snoozy one snoring away. And he took a nap with me too. It didn't help that he was keeping me warm. So let's see what today's goodie is from Twice Sheared Sheep. I'm really excited that I'm able to already start using some of the goodies in here. What is this? Looks like a lipstick tube, but I doubt it's that. Ooh, darning needles. And I love this cute little case. So it's a really nice, like solid wood case. And then it has 3 darning needles in here, which you can never have too many of these. I lose them absolutely everywhere. And it's a very pretty case to keep them in. So that is nice. Next, spun right round. Day 7. Oh, orange. Love me some orange. Really pretty. And this goes really well with the one that I opened. Did I? No, I didn't open this one yesterday. What was yesterday's? I can't remember which one was yesterday's, but on a previous day I'd opened that one, and those look really pretty together. You know, I can't wait to see those 3 together are really pretty. Cannot wait to see this whole collection together. I feel like it would just be fun to just do something with those 2. Oh, I don't have to put every color in my pullover. Oh my gosh, like I'm kind of dreaming up some like striped socks now with like some of these. Okay, I'm getting carried away. Ooh, sorry. Sorry, pup. So now I'm going to knit my stripe on my sock. And then I'm going to go back to my cardigan after I've knit my, ooh, look at today's stripe is gonna be green. Oh, and I like how it actually, today's stripe matches the yarn that I opened, so that's kind of fun. So yeah, I think that's, I think today's video is gonna be short and sweet because, yeah, this is really it. It's just a couch potato day, but that's okay. So hopefully tomorrow will be a more yarn-filled day. So I hope that you are having a wonderful Saturday out in the world. Until tomorrow, happy yarning.